The only thing that is constant is change. Heraclitus said that centuries ago. And wow, does it feel true today, especially when you see laws trying to keep up with the digital world?
Absolutely. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole sometimes, isn't it? The speed
Ugh.
of change is just incredible.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. We're the show that takes important topics, looks at the sources, and really unpacks them for you.
Helping you get informed fast.
Exactly. Today, we're diving into something huge, copyright law online. Specifically, we're looking at it through a really interesting recent case in India, ANI versus Mohak Mangal.
A news agency versus a YouTuber. Very relevant.
Our main source here is a critical discussion published in the Indian Express, which lays out the case really well. Our mission, to figure out what's going on, the legal ideas involved, like fair dealing, and what it all means for creators, platforms.
And for all of us, really, who use the internet every day.
Yeah, and look, this isn't just some abstract legal debate. If you're studying for exams like the UPSC mains or prelims, this is gold. Understanding IPR, how courts work, digital governance, it's all here.
Definitely key current affairs material.
But even beyond exams, it impacts what you see, share, and create online. I'm really curious how these sort of older laws are handling things like YouTube commentary.
And that's the crux of it. Understanding intellectual property, copyright, fair use, fair dealing. It's almost like basic digital literacy now. You can't really operate online without bumping into these concepts.
Okay, so let's get into the case itself. How did this ANI versus Mohak Mangal dispute actually start?
Well, the core issue was ANI, the news agency, accusing Mohak Mangal, the YouTuber, of copyright infringement. They pointed to at least 10 of his videos, according to the song.
10 videos, okay. And what did ANI do about it? Did they just send a warning?
Oh, no, they went the legal route. Pretty seriously, too. They filed a case in a Delhi trial court. That one covered both copyright and trademark infringement.
Right, so copyright for using their footage, maybe, and trademark for using their name or logo.
Potentially, yes. And on top of that, they filed another case, this time in the Delhi High Court.
Another one. What was that focused on?
That one zeroed in more on the trademark side, but also, significantly, included claims of disparagement and defamation. So not just, you use my stuff, but you used my stuff and you damaged my reputation.
That adds another layer. Did they also do anything on YouTube itself, like try to get the videos removed directly?
Yes, absolutely. Alongside the court cases, they submitted copyright removal requests, takedown notices to YouTube.
Standard procedure for platforms.
Right. ANI argued Mangal used their exclusive content without permission.
And YouTube has its own process for this, right? The whole copyright strike system.
Exactly. Our source mentions YouTube issues these copyright strikes based on complaints. If a creator gets enough strikes, YouTube might take down the videos, which is what happened here initially. It's the platform's mechanism kicking in.
Okay, so videos disappear. Mohak Mangal obviously isn't happy. What's his response?
He fought back on the platform first. He filed counter notifications with YouTube. That's the way creators can say, hey, this takedown was wrong. Please put my video back up.
And what was his main argument? Why did he think using ANI's content wasn't infringement?
His defense hinged on fair dealing. He argued his use wasn't infringement because it fell under a specific legal exception in Indian law.
What kind of exception?
Specifically, he claimed he used the content for reporting current events and also for review or criticism. Both of those are potential grounds for fair dealing.
Okay, fair dealing. Let's unpack that because it sounds crucial. What does it mean under the Indian Copyright Act, the 1957 Act?
It's a really important concept. The Act basically says that using copyrighted material, things like literary works, music, videos, isn't always infringement. There are exceptions.
Like for personal study?
Yes. Private use, including research, is one. But the key ones here are criticism or review, and reporting current events or current affairs. The law recognizes these activities are important and shouldn't always require permission.
Makes sense. You need to show something to critique it. But the source also says defining fair dealing in India isn't straightforward.
That's a critical point. It highlights there's no definite, straitjacketed definition. Unlike some places, Indian courts don't have a simple checklist. They decide on a case-by-case basis.
So how do they decide? If there's no strict formula, what are they looking at?
They perform a balancing act. The source mentions two key factors courts often weigh. The balance of convenience, like who suffers more if an immediate order is or isn't given,
Okay.
and the financial or economic impact on the copyright owner. Is the use hurting their ability to make money from their work?
And A&I definitely argued that, didn't they, about the financial impact?
Yes, very clearly. They claimed Mangal's videos diverted traffic from their own news channels, which, they argued, directly hit their revenue. That economic harm argument is often central in these cases.
So it's a real tension, allowing commentary versus protecting the original creator's livelihood. Is there any guidance from past court decisions on how to strike this balance? Our source mentioned another case.
Yes, a very relevant one. TV Today Network versus News Laundry. It provides some really useful context. TV Today, who run channels like India Today and Aaj Tak, sued News Laundry, a media critique platform.
Similar situation then, using broadcast clips for commentary.
Exactly. TV Today alleged copyright infringement and defamation because News Laundry used clips from their shows in critique videos.
And what happened initially in that case? Did the court stop News Laundry from using the clips right away?
No, it didn't. In July 2022, the Delhi High Court refused to grant TV Today an interim injunction. So News Laundry could keep using the clips while the main case continued.
Why did the court refuse the injunction?
The reasoning, as the source explains, was partly that TV Today wouldn't suffer irreparable harm since the videos had already been online for years. The court also found the balance of convenience at that interim stage favored News Laundry.
Okay, and News Laundry was also using the fair dealing defense, just like Mangal. Did the court in the TV Today case give any hints about how to properly evaluate that defense later on?
Yes, and this is incredibly useful. While refusing the interim injunction, the High Court laid out several specific parameters or factors that the trial court should examine when it eventually assessed News Laundry's fair dealing defense in the full trial.
Ah, so like a roadmap for the lower court.
Precisely. It shows the kind of detailed, multi-factor analysis required. It's not just one thing, it's a whole bunch of considerations.
Let's go through them. What were these parameters the court set out in the TV Today case?
Okay, the court said the trial court should look at. First, were the comments made without malice? Was the intent honest critique, not just trying to harm?
Makes sense. Intent matters.
Second, flowing from that, were the comments honestly made? Third, was the use in the public interest? Does it contribute to public debate or understanding? That's big for news and critique.
Right, the purpose and good faith. What about the actual use of the content?
Good question. Fourth, was only a short excerpt reproduced? How much was taken? Fifth, was there creative input from the user? Did News Laundry just re-upload clips? Or did they add substantial commentary, analysis, transformation?
That transformation point seems key for YouTubers and commentators.
Very key. Sixth, did the use actually constitute criticism and review, aligning with the specific exception in the act? And seventh, was there no blatant copying? Was it clear the purpose wasn't just to replace the original work?
Wow, that's a lot more involved than just saying fair use. It's about intent, public good, amount used, what you add. It really shows fair dealing isn't automatic.
Not at all. It's a careful balancing act based on the specific facts, viewed through these kinds of parameters. It underlines why courts say there's no straight-jacketed definition. It depends heavily on the context and how the material was used.
So that's fair dealing. But then there was another legal idea floated in the ANI versus Mangal High Court hearing, wasn't there? Something different.
Yes, indeed. During that hearing, which, remember, initially focused more on the trademark disparagement claim.
Right, where the court told Mangal to remove certain remarks.
Correct. During that hearing, Mangal's side brought up the de minimis principle as another potential reason why his use wouldn't be infringement.
De minimis? Okay, Latin again. What's the translation?
It's short for a longer Latin phrase meaning the law does not concern itself with trifles or trivial matters. The de minimis principle suggests that if an alleged legal violation is incredibly minor or insignificant, the court shouldn't even bother with it.
So it's less about the purpose of the use, like fair dealing, and more about the amount or impact being tiny.
Exactly. Fair dealing asks why and how you used it in relation to exceptions. De minimis asks if the use, regardless of purpose, was so small or had such a negligible effect that it's just not worth the court's time or finding liability.
Our source mentioned this might be a quicker assessment than fair dealing.
Potentially, yes. Because it focuses on the scale of the alleged infringement, it can be simpler than the multi-factor balancing act needed for fair dealing.
Are there specific factors courts in India consider for de minimis?
Yes. Broadly, they look at things like 1, the actual size and type of harm, is it genuinely trivial? 2, the cost of actually litigating it, is it disproportionate?
Okay.
3, the purpose of the law being invoked, was that purpose really undermined by this tiny act? 4, the effect on third parties, like viewers.
Yeah.
in this context. And 5, the intent of the person, was it accidental or malicious, even if small?
Interesting. So you have these two distinct shields, potentially.
Yeah.
Fair dealing based on purpose and transformation, and de minimis based on sheer triviality.
Right. They offer different angles for defense in copyright disputes. De minimis is like saying, even if technically I used something, it was so little, it just doesn't matter in the eyes of the law.
Okay, let's pivot back for a second to YouTube taking down the videos initially. You mentioned something crucial about the law they used.
Yes, and this is where the global platform dimension really comes in. The source clearly states YouTube acted under the U.S. law, California's Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA.
Not under the Indian Copyright Act, even though ANI and Mangal are in India and the case is in Indian courts.
Correct. YouTube, as a U.S.-based company, often defaults to its home country's legal framework, particularly the DMCA's notice and takedown system for handling copyright complaints globally.
Wow. That must create some friction, right? A U.S. law dictating content removal in India, potentially before Indian courts have even weighed in based on Indian law, like fair dealing?
Huge friction. It's a major challenge.
Yeah.
You have platform policies driven by one country's laws impacting users and legal processes worldwide. It raises complex questions about which law applies where online.
Okay, let's try and tie this all together. We've walked through the ANI versus Mangal conflict, the fair dealing defense, the TV Today precedent with its parameters, the de minimis argument, and this platform law complication. What are the big takeaways, especially for, say, a UPSC aspirant or just someone trying to make sense of the online world?
Well, this whole situation is a perfect illustration of the legal growing pains in the digital age. You see copyright, trademark, defamation, fair dealing, de minimis, all these concepts clashing and interacting in the online space.
Yeah.
It highlights that gray area creators operate in.
How does this plug into UPSC prep specifically?
It connects across papers. For GS Paper 2, you've got Indian polity governance, the judiciary understanding the Copyright Act, how courts interpret laws like fair dealing, using precedents like TV Today versus News Laundry. That's crucial. It shows judicial process in action.
And beyond paper 2?
Definitely. It touches on GS Paper the Third, economy, IPR issues. Intellectual property is an economic asset. Plus, it's a prime example of challenges in regulating the digital space, a major contemporary theme. Knowing cases like this gives you concrete examples for mains answers, and the legal terms fair dealing, de minimis, DMCA could even pop up in prelims.
Makes sense. And for the rest of us just living our digital lives?
It matters because these fights shape your online experience. They determine what kind of commentary is allowed, how freely information flows, what risks creators take. Understanding the basics helps you be a more informed digital citizen, knowing the tensions between protecting creators and allowing criticism and sharing. It affects the content you consume and maybe even create.
It really does feel like the law is playing catch-up.
It often is. The technology moves so fast, and legal frameworks, which are built for stability, have to adapt. Cases like this are where that adaptation happens, often messily, in real time.
This has been incredibly insightful. We've really unpacked the ANI versus Mohak Mangal case, explored fair dealing and de minimis, looked at the TV Today parameters, and the whole platform versus national law issue, all drawing from that discussion in the Indian Express.
And maybe a final thought for you to chew on. As platforms increasingly mediate our online world, how do we ensure our laws, whether copyright or otherwise, effectively balance protecting creators' rights with the absolute need for things like criticism, commentary, and the free exchange of information that a healthy society depends on? It's a tough balance to strike.
Definitely something to think about next time you're scrolling or watching a commentary video. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. If breaking down these complex topics, especially current affairs relevant for exams like UPSC, is helpful, please do like and subscribe to the deep dive. And if you have more questions on this or another topic you want us to tackle using reliable sources, drop a comment. We really enjoy exploring these issues with you.